I am Omar Green's mother. He was killed June the 17th, 2019, approximately 10:59 at night. And this is part of my journey. I was talking to someone, and what I realized, a couple of things. My niece called. I called my niece, and she said something on social media that alarmed me. So I was talking to her, and what it did with talking with her brought back memories of different situations that I went through with Omar as a young child, and being a single mom with a young son. It started bringing me memories of the first time that I really encountered people with guns, and it made me realize how I handled things and how I felt about guns. As a young mama, my first apartment was a place called Belle Meade. I grew up in what they call the West End in my area, in the Richmond area, but Belle Meade was in the South Side area. And I remember working for a security company, and the security company had an owner that was huge, a huge man. And I was a young single mom, of course struggling with my apartment and trying to have a car and trying to actually still go to school. And the security guy kept hitting on me. The security guy face was huge, double mines, what it was right here. And what he used to do is come by my apartment and flick the lights, and I would never open the door. I only had a bed at that time and no furniture, and I used to just hold my son, which was Omar, and just hope he was going away. He used to take every opportunity to try to get me alone. And I'm gonna leave that part as it is. But I met a guy, and a young man, and I used to tell him what was going on, and he gave me a gun. I wasn't sure how I felt about the gun. I kept the gun for a little while, but eventually what I did was put the gun in what I call the gutter. Down in the street, I threw it in the gutter because I looked at my son, and I didn't want him to be around a gun. I didn't want him to think that's the only way to protect yourself. What I did, I just quit the job. I quit the job. Now in 2020, sexual harassment, the Me Too movement, all of that is bringing incidents like this to the forefront. But I would think, as a single mother, I was thinking on, if I had to shoot this guy or anything, what would happen to my son? I know my grandma would have took him, but that's the purpose of me not going in the Marines, is because I had a son and I didn't want to give custody of my son to anybody. My grandma raised me, my mom didn't raise me, and I didn't want that for my son. But that was one of the memories that my niece brought back to my attention, and I was thinking about any other interactions that I had with guns at that time, but that was my personal action with a quote-unquote illegal gun, because a young man gave me a gun to protect myself in case that the owner of that particular company will ever come to my door again or come to my house, so I could protect myself. So over the years, I'm thinking I always was the mom that didn't want my kids to play with even the pop guns back then, when we're talking about 30 years ago, where they had cap guns kids could play with and BB guns kids could play with, and I'm quite sure they had other types of guns, but I was that mother that I didn't go for that. I didn't want for that. I think over my lifetime I have dealt with maybe 3 or 4 men that carried guns for one reason or another. But to me, the fantasy of how people want guns now, legal or illegal. You know, legal people that want guns, some of them are still, mentality is just as bad as the illegal people that want to carry guns. They just haven't did anything to keep them from getting a gun legally. So that is my bit on gun control right now. That I'm wondering why the fantasy from there is still there. I know in my generation they was growing up with cowboy and Indians, and that was the rave. And one day I woke up, I said cowboys and Indians was only fun to the cowboys, but not to the Indians, because the Indians didn't start fighting with guns till later. Thanks. I am Obama Mom, and I'm on my healing journey.